Hi, welcome to 5 Minutes of Torah with the BI Rabbi. I'm Rabbi Adam Stein. Now, I've heard from some of you that you enjoy these videos, but you actually like to see me a bit. Well,
So here I am. It's nice to see you.
Hope you
enjoy
enjoy
the video.
Okay, so what I want to talk with you about a little bit is kings. So, the word kings, melachim in Hebrew. Now, I don't want to talk about these kings, and I don't want to talk about this king, but maybe someone more like this king. And that's probably a painting of King David. There's actually a whole book of the Bible called Kings. There it is again. It is melachim in Hebrew, but, well, it's actually two books. Kings 1 and Kings 2. Melachim Aleph, Melachim Bet. I'll tell you sometime if you're interested why they're split into two books. And even the book of Samuel has a lot about kings. Saul and David and their issues and everything. Well, that one's two books also. 1 and 2, Aleph and Bet. But it's actually back in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, before this prophet section with Samuel and kings and everything. But in the Torah, in the 5th book of the Torah, Deuteronomy, that we get some warnings about having a king. And it's actually book of Devarim in Hebrew, but the book, the parasha called Shoftim, which is this week's Torah portion. So in this week's parasha, chapter 17, okay, so Moses is talking to the people and he's telling them something. Well, he spends all of the book of Devarim telling the people things in these 3 big speeches before he passes away at the end of the Torah. And he's telling them, after you go into the land, into Israel that God gave you, you take possession, you settle it, and you say, I want to have a king, just like all the other nations do. Then Moses says, you'll be free to set a king over yourselves, but one chosen by the Lord your God. Be sure to set as king over yourself one of your own people, so not a foreigner, but one of your own. Then he gives this warning. He shall not have a lot of horses. And if he wants a lot of horses, he shouldn't send the people back to Egypt to get more horses for him, because we have this warning that once you left Egypt, you're not supposed to go back to Egypt. It was enough that we were in Egypt before and we left, so we're not going back there. So let's just go back to this question for a moment. A king or no king? So a professor of mine, I've mentioned him before, Richard Elliott Friedman, he taught Bible in San Diego when I was an undergraduate. He has a great explanation of this. He says the Torah does permit Israel to have a king if they wish. It's placed in their hands to decide if they want one. And he quotes this verse that we had here about when you say, let me set a king over ourselves, you shall set a king over you. But the king must be chosen by God. Now later, there are prophets, Gideon and Samuel, who characters in the book of Samuel, and they question whether it's right for Israel to have a king at all, saying God should be Israel's king. But we have to look at the context in their worldview. They don't base their opposition to monarchy on the Torah. They're both judges and priests. And they naturally think of God's will as being properly expressed through priests. And so they see kings as a threat to the order that they know. But in the end, the Torah does permit the people to have a king if they wish. And so God tells Samuel to give the people a king, even though their wish for a king in that particular case involves a rejection of God, but that's a different story. So here's our King David again. And so now we go to who chooses that king. You know, it's the people who are pushing for a king. And Samuel, the people refuse to listen to Samuel, and they say, no, we want a king over us. And is it democracy? I don't know if democracy was really invented by then, but it seems like he's really divinely chosen. So is it God or the people who are deciding? It's probably God. He says to Samuel, this is the man I spoke to you about, meaning Saul. He will govern my people. So one more warning here. Wives and horses. We heard about horses before. God also warns that the king shouldn't have too many wives. That's Solomon right there. He broke both of those. He had a lot of wives and horses. So in the end, we're really thinking about leaders, thinking carefully about who our leaders are. Here are a couple famous ones: Ben-Gurion, Charlton Heston. Sorry, that's Moses. But these are people Moses and Ben-Gurion led with their teaching in powerful ways, their gentle politics, their powerful politics too, their values. But who are our leaders now? I'm thinking questions like, do they rule by the fist? Do they accumulate gold and silver? Do they cause us to return in some way to Egypt? My hope is that we choose and uphold leaders who largely refrain from those things and instead guide us gently and carefully to being better individuals and better people. I just want to mention quickly our High Holy Day youth and family programs. We have it up on our website. We'll get it up on Facebook and out to everyone. The details, a great youth service led by Samantha Levine and Angela doing circle time, and Lisa Romalis doing preteen service, and there's a teen service, Rabbi Blumen. I'm doing the alternative service again this year, so I hope you join me for that downstairs. And we have a great welcome back summer party for our young families, the BI Neighborhoods program that Deborah Bulmash and I run. So hope to see you at a lot of these things over the next several weeks. Shabbat Shalom.